Welcome to part 3 of our Starfield deep dive here on the Triple S League. Let's talk about the delay. In June of 2021, Todd Howard said, "We're confident in the date, otherwise we wouldn't be announcing it." Of course, it's recently been announced that they're delaying Starfield into 2023. Did they say first half or first quarter now? I can't remember.
First
but anyway.
half.
They said first half. I think they had to say first half because it might take them right up till May or June.
Yeah, I've got the notice. I've got the notice in front of me now. So yes, both Redfall and Starfield delayed to the first half of 2023. Now, Jason Schreier, reporter formerly of Kotaku, now with Bloomberg, tweeted this in response to that announcement. Last spring before E3, I spoke to some folks on Starfield who were extremely worried about committing to the 11/11/22 date based on the progress they'd made so far. Next Cyberpunk, he says in quotes, was the term floated. And of course, that is the part that a lot of media reporting has zoomed in on and capitalized on, or that's the quote they took, that devs are worried that this is the next Cyberpunk. And that's why they delayed it. Now, of course, Cyberpunk was delayed several times, and was still what it was. So, is this fair? He says that they floated the words "next Cyberpunk." We don't know any of the context for that, and of course, Schreier, I have found, always has an angle. I mean,
you don't say.
He has done some informative reporting that we have made use of in the past in terms of reporting on things, but he has access, that's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
But he doesn't tell. In what context was the words "next Cyberpunk" spoken? Was it early on we were worried this would be the next Cyberpunk, or what were the exact words? I mean, just the words "next Cyberpunk" doesn't tell us much.
I have a bit on this, so I will give it to you the way that I've heard it. They don't believe the game's going to be the total next Cyberpunk. They believe that the game, if they had launched it as is, would be an example of a sort of next Cyberpunk. I don't think it was going to completely crash. I think the deciding not to become the next Cyberpunk was probably to insulate themselves from being the target of ridicule that they didn't need, and that's not something that the new Xbox direction needs. I think they realized that they could probably do a lot better with one of the systems, probably the flying system. They could probably make it a lot better by tweaking it. That's why I believe they delayed it. I don't think they were headed to the next Cyberpunk, because if they were, they would need, as we've seen, they would need over a year and a half to write that ship into a somewhat, workable system. I don't think that's the case of what they've encountered, and it's just I don't think it was that bad. I think it was kind of close, but they ultimately decided that they need to absolutely polish the ever-living crap out of this thing, and they're probably hyper focusing on particulars. There was a lot of fuss made about some systems in Cyberpunk that needed work, that needed improvements. I think they realized that, and I think that they decided to go with something that from disk could be played offline and could be finished, unlike Skyrim, which, again, I was really angry at Skyrim when it originally launched. When it originally launched, the game was darn near unplayable, and you certainly couldn't beat it in the vanilla day one disc version. There were too many bugs that did not allow you to actually finish the game. One of the main quests was bugged in a way that made it unplayable. And
I still don't even know how that happens. How something that egregious gets past QA.
it's not that hard, because again, we've talked about this before, where QA is, they're not playing the same build that's shipping. Very rarely are they playing the same build that is currently shipping. And the other problem with QA is that QA takes a lot of shortcuts. If you send an update to the QA department and you say, we need you to test this particular build and get back to us on the changes that we've made, here's the changes that we've made, you go in and you test those things. You don't test the whole, all right, well, let me start.
But you'd think there would be time at the end of the development cycle where it's like, okay, we're just going to get a bunch of people to play through the whole thing while we're not adding stuff in. But anyway,
well, they do. They that used to be the period in which, like, they were happy enough with the game that they're ready to ship it, that the devs would all sit around, play the thing, invite some friends over, play it from scratch. They'd watch them react to playing it, and then they'd check over everything, and then they'd ship it. That's how games used to be made. That's not how games are made anymore since, like, for the past 15 years. Like, since most everybody had access to the internet, that's just not how games are made anymore.
Well, because you could just fix it with a day one patch, right?
Yes, and that's sad, and a lot of people are angry about that. But and I'm angry about that too. I think games should ship finished, right? Like, not
absolutely
broken. But unfortunately, that's just not a rewarded system for game design anymore.
Well, there will definitely be bugs. Hopefully not game-breaking ones on day one. But I just wanted to point out another difference between this and Cyberpunk, and that is that they have been very selective and very limited in the information they're revealing. And they really haven't revealed it. They haven't revealed any gameplay at all. And there's, like we touched on earlier, they haven't made specific promises about what we can see as far as things like RPG mechanics and whatnot. They're introducing us to the world, which is a good idea considering this is a brand new IP. But you think back to Cyberpunk, I think back to those years when we were covering Cyberpunk 2077 in depth, and having people from CD Projekt Red on our podcasts and things like that. It was a fire hose of info all the time. What Bethesda's doing right now is just a slow drip. And they're just being very smart about it, and I respect that. And again, there's not enough info. We can't say, is this going to be the game they dream of, the game of games that they're, the dream game that Todd Howard's been envisioning for years and years. Is it going to be that? Is it going to be amazing? Is it going to suck? We just don't know at this point. I doubt it's going to suck, but what is it going to offer? Is it going to, I'm not going in anticipating it's going to be the gaming experience to end all gaming experiences. If it is, that'll be a pleasant surprise, because we haven't had that from AAA in a long time. I'm having most of my fun these days playing indie games, and I've been playing some great ones, and I've got some videos coming out reviewing some fantastic indie games I've been playing lately. Again, going into this with no hype, but I am definitely looking forward to Starfield, and hopefully, it'll exceed my expectations, which won't be hard because my expectations are very low. So if they don't exceed my expectations, that'll be a massive disappointment. But anyway, I don't think this is on track to be the next Cyberpunk. Will it have problems? I'm sure it will. No game is perfect. But I doubt that, because, they were very confident in that release date, and then they changed it, which I don't believe they're really in the habit of doing. Correct me if I'm wrong, Saib, looking back over the last few years.
And again, it's because I think they want this to be the most polished game they've ever made. And I certainly hope it is. I certainly hope it is.
Well, they've seen what's been happening in the industry. They saw Cyberpunk 2077. They saw the industry, or the community's response to Fallout 76, and I really hope that now that they're under new management, that they've learned and listened to all of that. Final thoughts from you two, though.
I enjoy that the art style was internally called NASA Punk. I think that is adorable. And also, I'm just enjoying the artwork in general. It's very quite nice. And just all the speculation you can get from just looking at what they've chosen to share with us, right? From those images that you shared last time in the last video, and like just I really Vasco is adorable. I can't get over how cute he is for a robot.
Yeah, I think the potential for deep combat systems. I'm really hoping that that's good. I'm really hoping that it's not just a shooter first and foremost. They promised us that in Cyberpunk, that it's a RPG first. Actually, it's not. It was a shooter first.
Yep.
It was a shooter first and foremost the whole time. If you could make it so that you could beat the game easily just by guns, no abilities, no hacking, no character conversation, just shoot absolutely everything first and foremost, and the game was a bloody walk in the park, even on harder difficulties. And that I don't think was an evolution of the RPG at all. Nope. I think they took 5 steps backward on RPG, and they took 1 step forward in the gun mechanic, and grand total they were now 4 steps backwards.
Tired of it. I want something that's engaging and has depth to it.
Absolutely. Yes. Options. We want options for different ways of attacking different situations. And that's, again, we haven't heard anything. Like, they've put a big emphasis on the exploration aspect of it. That's the one thing the one theme in the material that's been that Bethesda's released so far. Exploration. We don't know anything about the combat. We don't know anything about the skills and stuff and what we'll be able to do. Like, there's just so much of this game that is still a big question mark. And I like that, quite frankly.
Yeah, me too. I think my honest opinion and my honest expectation of this game is that it will be probably one of the better games that we have. And unfortunately, I have said this a few times now, and I have been deeply let down multiple times in a row. But I'm not saying this with rose-colored glasses or knowing the devs or putting a lot on this. I think that it's just the logic of what we're getting and the way that they're going around it. This will be a very good game. And I think that the modding will probably be there for a really long time. And I think that the game will hopefully reinvigorate Bethesda Maryland as the number one studio in the world of RPGs. I really hope that's the case, because the amount of good games we've had has been dismal and has been depressing for a long time now, and I want something better. All of us deserve something better, but we'll see.
we need
we don't know yet. We just don't know yet.
Absolutely, but we will keep covering this. We do plan to cover Starfield quite a bit in depth, and if it's a good game, we will do a lot of guides, a lot of videos about it, as we have in the past with some of Bethesda's games, especially Fallout 4. That was basically the start of our channel, and if the game sucks, we'll tell you that it sucks. But if it's really good, we'll tell you, exactly what it is and exactly what you can expect from it. That's what we aim to do here at the Triple S League with our reviews and our coverage of these things. Thank you so much for listening today. Thank you, those of you who are listening live on our server, as also those who are listening after the fact. Please do slam that like button, subscribe for tons more info, and of course, join the Discord and the Guilded servers to talk to us, to talk to our community members. We will talk to you again very soon. Did you enjoy that video? Let us know by slamming that like button and leaving a comment below. And if you really liked it, consider joining the Triple S Legion by joining our online community, supporting us on Patreon, or checking out the merch store. Subscribe for tons more guides and other fun videos. And for insightful gaming news content, check out our sister channel, Triple S Podcast.